Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring you to my video on 100 Kushala Daora Slain, my top 5 tips and tricks, and my lessons learned. This video features my journey to 100 Kushala Daora Slain. I will also share my tips and tricks, and in addition I will show my development of getting better at taking on Kushala and my lessons learned. That 40-minute Kushala Daora video guide, I'm going to put this at the end of the video in case you are new to the game or if you are looking to take on Kushala in the future, really helped out because I'm a head wrestling coach, so when you're a martial artist or combat sports competitor, looking at film is really good, especially when you get much better at fighting and as you start becoming and competing at a higher level when it comes to combat sports. I have won against a world champion because of something I noticed. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, he does this. That's usually what happens in high level MMA fights, etc. There's behavior you pick upon, and then bam, you take advantage of it. And that's what we're doing here in Kushala Daora. You're going to start off where you kind of suck, and then you're going to be able to pick something out, and then you'll progressively get better. But you're not going to be invincible, because you're always going to make mistakes, but you'll make up for it later on, and you'll progressively get to the point where you're not going to make a ton of mistakes. And that's the goal here. Obviously, I've slain a lot more than 100 by now, but, you know, this is a cool milestone, and I know some of y'all were looking forward to my analysis and my journey to this number and beyond. First, we're going to start out with my loadout methodology. Bang bang LBG gang. No, seriously, I love the light bow gun. I started off with the Rathalos light bow gun because my friend loved it, and I slowly started to fall in love with the light bow gun. I want to get all of the weapon types gold at one point, so why not start out with the light bow gun so I can alternate between the bow and light bow gun when I need to use a weapon where I have to save potions, and it's actually a whole lot of fun. It does 150% elemental damage to Kushala because I'm using a Zinogre light bowgun here. It is 150%. Bow and light bowgun are the only two weapons that can engage Kushala while it's in the air during its area of effect attacks or AoE attacks. So for all of you that are roasting bow and LBGs and like, they don't really do a lot. If you have a really good or even a decent bow and light bowgun user and they know how to aim, they're actually probably doing more damage than you are just because there are phases in Kushala and movements where you can't hit it, but they can. So they don't have to move and adjust as much as you would. This also doesn't require you to waste time to chase after Kushala as long as you're good at aiming your shots, like I mentioned before. If you're good at aiming your shots, you will have a much bigger advantage than a melee user or even a gun lance user that's using its longer shot range because you can aim at Kushala again during its area effect attacks while it's high in the sky. As I mentioned before, I already mastered the bow to some degree, so I wanted to improve and get better at another weapon type. All my haters are like, King of Charmanders, all he does is play bow. No, I was a dual blades main in the main series, and I played around with all the weapons at one point because I got bored and I was waiting for my friends to get on so that we can hunt together. I have the light bow gun and the dual blades at silver, so I have them over 1,000 kills, and I want to get all the weapons to gold medals at one point. That means as of this video, I'm already halfway to the gold medal for the light bow gun. So, actually I'm not at like halfway through 1,000, I'm like at 1600 right now. Also, Despot's Wildfire, the Zinogre light bow gun, is one of my favorite weapons because it resembles an assault rifle. My best weapon I shot with when I was still in the military was rifles. If you look closely at the Zinogre light bow gun, you notice it has tape magazines. If you're in the military, basically what tape magazines are, you can quickly disattach you tape two magazines together, you discharge one, and then you can quickly load the other. So that's what happened when we were shooting. I was shooting with special operations. I was assigned to special operations at one point, pararescue in the Air Force, 48th Rescue Squadron, Davis Mountain Air Force Base. My security forces cardio friend was like, "Hey Ivan, dang, you're actually pretty good at this." I'm like, "Wow, I'm surprised," because I was like, after we were done with our targets, and I looked and we walked up to them, they were like, "Ivan, you're like tied with one of our hunters," because our vehicles guy was our best shooter in the squadron and he hunted all the time, and he's like, "You're really good. Do you want to hunt?" And I'm like, "I don't know if I like shooting animals. Sorry, dude." Nah, he's a really cool dude though. In addition, I do have Driftstones for my build. I have a Thunder Attack level 1 to max out Thunder Attack to level 5, and I have a level 1 Weakness Exploit and a 1% Affinity bonus, so you may see me crit without hitting weak spots. I also have Attack Boost level 1, which is just a bonus as it is the best secondary skill I had for one of my pieces. So I was like I was just like rolling and I got Attack Boost level 1 for one of my pieces, so I was like, you know what, I'll use it. The thing is, Driftstones aren't necessary for Kushala, but they certainly help if I have to pull out some extra DPS if the timer is getting low. There are some instances where I've had to carry, like for the last second, because I was the only ranged user and Kushala was far away, so I was able to either use my sticky ammo, my pierce ammo, or just ult my way to victory and help my teammates. And that little extra damage, again pushed thanks to the thunder attack, the weakness exploit, and attack boost, helped add that damage up. To use this build, you need the Zinogre Light Bowgun maxed out, as high as you can. You ideally should get it as high as you can, like grade 10 or is maxed out. The Sisiaku Helmet at grade 8, the Palumu Mail at grade 8, Zinogre Vambraces at grade 8, the Koropuke Puke Coil at grade 8, and the Azarathos Greaves at grade 8. In addition, I had 3 primary Driftstones: Attack Boost, Weakness Exploit, and the most important one, Thunder Attack level 1 for this build. And now, here's my learning experience hunting the first 1 to 50 Kushala Daora. After my 10th Kushala, I only started to go after 8-star Kushala Daoras. I figured, I was like, you know what, I got the goal of getting 1000 at one point, but Kushala isn't actually my favorite Elder Dragon, so I was like, you know what, screw the 1000 medal, I'm just going to go after it and get my 10-5 weapon. So after my 10th, like I mentioned, I just started going after 8-star Kushala Daoras. Making my Kushala Daora guide, I already had a great idea of Kushala's attacks and tells. I'm the OG of the monster guide makers, and I'm the only one that slows down the attacks so that you can actually see them in real time, because you should slow them down, because that's how you do it the expert way. Instead of trying to perfect dodge every attack, it was worth it to just reposition in case Kushala was going to take flight. I'm trying to kill a mass number of these. I'm not trying to do the whole like perfect dodge video to show off or something like that. Plus, nobody shows the progress or how much practice it took before you actually did that run. So, I'm not about that life. I'll probably do that later, but right now the goal is 10-5 Kushala bow weapon. Over time, I got really good where I could aim even when Kushala had its wind armor. So I got really good at aiming where I need to aim at, even though it had its wind armor. I started to learn my rhythm of when to pop my special skill and what angle to point it to hit Kushala in the air. If you're going for phase 2, you have to tilt your phone at a certain angle so that you can hit the tail or the head. I'm getting good at hitting the weak spot, the head and the tail, but usually I just try to go for the wing or the body. In addition, yeah, I use some potions. I probably used for my first half about 10-15 potions. I still use some potions up to this point as I was still trying to get a good rhythm. Obviously, when you're fighting a new monster, especially something like an Elder Dragon where it has a insane hitbox range, etc., you have to get a lot of reps in. I went in with any group, so that means I didn't matter who was in the group. I went in with any group to test the results. So I carried and played no matter how it is, how hard it was. So even if I saw someone that was probably going to be really weak and we had to do a lot more, me and the other 3, or if it was like 2 of us really strong and the other 2 were weak, I still went in anyways. The thing is, don't worry if you can't break its head. Go for the wings to force Kushala down from flight or stun it. I'm going to ping on this more on my top 5 tips, but yeah, I'm not worried about breaking the head. Unless you have a chat system to where like you can tell everyone go after the head, or everyone has sufficient DPS to go after the head, you're probably going to end up dying a lot if the other 3 players aren't really good at fighting Kushala already. The risk of going into hunts with a low timer is another thing you have to look after. I was already used to this thanks to 4,000 plus raids in Pokemon Go. Most of them were in person, so biting a lost ticket wasn't anything that affected me mentally. Especially when you do this in person with a bunch of people, you're like, okay, hold on, you guys need to play DPS, or, oh, we lost our raid tickets. Oh, that's okay. Like, me and my friends have backed out to help other people, and we lost our tickets because we did so, but you know what, that's fine. So, I don't care if I lost my raid pass, etc. That's okay, as long as I try to help, that was fine by me. And now after the first half, you have the second half. So here's my learning experience hunting the second half of the 50 to 100 Kushala Daora. Started to rarely use potions now, but still would get caught here and there. It's just the way it is. Perfection isn't realistic with 4 players in a lobby, and you're using global matchmaking. So if you're using global matchmaking, you're gonna start off with 3 other players that you likely do not know. I have all of y'all that I seen a lot, by the way, that are tagged me. I appreciate y'all. Whether we fail or not, I really do appreciate you. Don't worry about it. I got you. All right, you guys are awesome. And I'll do my best. But yeah, you're gonna make mistakes here and there even though you have it at full. Like, I'll still spend like 1 potion every like 3 to 5. Or there's even one Kushala where I spent like 2 potions because I just kept getting hit. So it was just like, I was at the like the wall or something like that. And then the second one, the tornado like barely hit me. Actually, I misflicked. So I was trying to dodge a certain way, but I dodged the opposite way and the tornado ended up hitting me. So that's big rips. But at this point, I started aim much better and consistently make most of my shots. So I knew where to aim at, and I knew what angles to aim at a lot more, so most of my shots are going to land at optimal places. And I mastered the timing for the special skill before phase 2. I was still trying to play with the angle so I could trick shot if I can. You're going to see in some of these, like, videos you see right here, like, I'm going to pull off these. I pulled off some insane trick shots, so I'm going to show those in the video for those battles. It's absolutely insane, and I'm having a whole lot of fun doing them. Most importantly, I learned what I'm willing to tolerate as who I'm willing to group with and carry in the lobby if I have to. More on that later for my top tips. But yeah, now I was being picky and choosy because after 50 of them, I'm like, alright, you know what? I have a good measuring stick of this is who in the lobby that could possibly beat this Kushala Daora, and we can totally complete it. I only doubled rarity 5s and rarity 6s as the rest of what I need for a 10-5 Kushala Daora bow was adding up fast. So only doubled up R5s and R6s. Those are the 2 hardest drops for Kushala. Of course, you're going to double rarity 6s if you can. But those were the 2 ones that I started doing. I didn't do 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s. If I didn't drop a rarity 5 and rarity 6 this entire run, even up till now, I'm not going to do it. And I started to get the feel for the timing of interceptions. I drive in a circle between a cluster of large gathering points, and I look at every large point in between. So every large gathering point in between, I have a good route now, and that's what you should do. If you're an expert in Pokemon Go raiding, you know what I'm talking about. You got a route. But we don't have a map that can show us where Elder Dragon interceptions are. So I have this circle I go in over and over again, and then that's how I find my rhythm for Elder Dragon interceptions, because it's like 19 minutes after the ones that pop, and then by the time I get to one point to another, I can either scope out or that 8-star I have will make me find another one, and I have a good chain of 8-star Kushalas going on. And now here are my top 5 tips for Kushala Daora. Tip number 1, the 5-second rule. Yes, if you drop your food on the ground, technically you have like 5 seconds to pick it up before germs get on it. There's some studies on that prove it. I don't know if it actually is because I've read some of them, but I don't care. I love food. And speaking of food, you should not follow this rule if the Elder Dragon interception has expired and this is your last chance. If it is your last chance, you have no choice but to take the repel reward. So whether you fail it or not, again, if it's expired, don't do what I did because I like backed out on reflex because I've done Pokemon Go raids so many times. Don't do that. Repel it and then just take the rewards again if the timer is out. It's better to get some rewards than no rewards, and I'm glad Monster Hunter now has the system like this. If you do not are literally about to say Kushala Daora within 5 seconds, back out and retry. If you have time, even just a little bit, it's worth it to regroup so that you finish both phases and max out your rewards. If you're going to spend this much time, and if you're spending money like I do with an Ultra Hunting ticket, you definitely want to maximize your results. The 5-second rule should give you enough time to get out without risking the failure screen. So, when you get to the complete screen, or not the failure screen, it's the complete screen for Elder Dragon interceptions for the repel, there's a period to where you can actually like close your app. If you accidentally let the timer run out, restart your app immediately and you can retry the interception. It will still be there. Tested, been able to do it. People are probably doing it right now to where you leave it and you can retry it. So again, 5-second rule, if it's within 5 seconds, gives you plenty of time to back out. And if you accidentally go past those 5 seconds, just go ahead and restart your app as fast as possible and you should be able to retry that Elder Dragon interception. Next up, we have top 5 tips number 2. Don't use WINDPROOF. You should master positioning where you do not have to use WINDPROOF unless it's an extra skill that is part of your build. You want to maximize DPS as much as possible. This is especially true if you are using global matchmaking and you are forced to carry 1 or 2 players. I'll be doing a video, thank you to one of my subscribers, Blackula. He's awesome and he gave me a lot of data on how to negate WINDPROOF, the wind armor, etc. for melee users. Ranged users, we don't really have to worry about it, but there are ways you can take advantage of Kushala without having to use WINDPROOF armor. In fact, I think people felt like WINDPROOF didn't work, so a lot of them were just like, you know what, screw it, we're just gonna go full meta, and when you get used to full meta, you pump out maximum damage. So, that is what you want to go for, and this is something you especially should never do. Never drift smelt windproof into your armor. It's only a 5% chance, and it's not worth it. It's misleading to do so. No, seriously, the misinformation has to stop. If you do not have a full drift smelt build, you have no experience or poor experience when it comes to drift smelting. To tell your viewers to drift smelt something onto something at a 5%, 3.3, here's the chart right here, if it is a special skill, is something you should never do. It's like, if you're gonna do that for clicks, you're just a bad human being and you just should stop. Especially as someone like me and a lot of you viewers, a lot of my subscribers who have drift smelted over 100 times, you can get nothing. So you're going to tell someone to put a suboptimal skill and they're gonna chase after it FOMO-wise because said person said to do so. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Do never drift smelt windproof onto your armor. And speaking about worrying about things, we have my top 5 tips number 3. Don't worry about breaking the head. In order to break Kushala Daora's head, you must do 75% of its HP to the head to get that extra chance at a rarity 6. Even if we do get some chat function in the future, you might not get a full squad that can pump out that DPS to focus on Kushala's head if you are using global matchmaking. I don't expect my teammates to play perfectly. If you have the ability to do so, etc., okay, why not? You know, like you have people with like a full like part breaker or like level 1 part breaker, and you just have a phenomenal squad that can focus on the head. Absolutely justifiable. But if it's global matchmaking, I'm not gonna think of that poor soul is going to just aim for Kushala's head, or if someone gets yeeted on phase 2, I'm like, okay, you know what, that person totally knows to go after the head. So don't worry about it. If you notice your group isn't focusing the head a lot, abandon the idea of breaking the head and go for the kill instead. As you see in this battle right here, hey, we broke the head, but you know what? I didn't get a rarity 6. So, not worth it to stress over it. It's better to go after another interception versus wasting your time if you are trying to do multiple Kushala Daora. I've done thousands of Pokemon Grow raids. I have spent an entire day along with my friends hunting legendary Pokemon that we wanted to get perfect IVs for. And mind you, it's a way worse chance than rarity 5 or 6s. Don't worry about it. Go after that one, you don't get it, okay, run to the next one, maximize your time and efforts. Don't worry about being perfect. Next up, my top 5 tips number 4. Ranged party members are amazing. No, seriously, y'all are great. Not just because I'm one, but also because the bow and light bowgun are the only 2 weapon types so far in the game that can target Kushala while it is high in the air during its phase 2 area of effect AoE attacks. It has a close range one as well, so every time it's up there and it flashes around and freaking tries to fly everywhere and it just makes it super annoying, you can still hit it. Aim for the head, tail, and wings during phase 2 to bypass the armor if you're using the light bowgun. That's just with the normal ammo though. If you're using pierce ammo, pierce bow shots, sticky ammo, and slicing ammo, that can bypass Kushala's wind armor. So keep that in mind. After you fire all of your normal ammo, even if all those don't hit, you can go ahead and fire all your other shots and they should hit Kushala if you're aiming correctly. If you're using the Black Diablo's bow, be sure to aim for the head or tail to maximize damage. You're not going to do nearly as much as 150%, of course, but if you are expert at aiming it with Black Diablo's bow, it can be just as effective, if not more effective, depending on the grade differences between you and your teammates. So again, Black Diablo's bow, head or tail area to maximize damage. And last but not least, here is my most important tip. My top 5 tips number 5, do not feel like you're obligated to carry anyone. Most of the Kushala Daora 8 stars I have failed are because of Bone Gunlance users. They are either wiped constantly every time or barely pull any weight chasing after Kushala. No, seriously, a Bone Gunlance, yeah, 10-1 does 3,000 a shot. But guess what? I do just as much with 2 shots to the head at Kushala Daora using my light bowgun with my Thunder build. And light bowguns and bows, again, are the only 2 that can shoot Kushala in the air. And again, literally look at all, I'm giving you literally every single, most examples. 95, actually almost all of them have actually wiped as far as Bone Gunlance. Regular Gunlance users using everything, y'all are goats, okay? Y'all are amazing. I see you in battle. I see you popping that Worm Stake shot, and using everything the Gunlance has to offer as you should play it. If you are just using the Bone Gunlance charge style and you promote it, it is a lazy playstyle. I don't care if you like it or not. I don't care if it's good or not. This only pertains to those of you that are new or those of you that exclusively use bone gun lance. If you used another weapon before and you're good at that weapon and you can switch off anytime, this does not pertain to you. You're good, you can use it whenever you want. But telling someone to go past 8-1 and looking at how ridiculous its performance is in Kushala Daora, no, seriously. Like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, put a fair analysis together. Well, here's a fair assessment. Look at how much they're dying. Look at, like, they think they can guard against AoE. No, you can't do that. And you're wasting their potions because you want to promote a lazy playstyle instead of optimal range, targets, and perfect dodging or just dodging tells, etc. And it's just a bad precedence. Monster Hunter now does not reward laziness. If you work hard, you put in the effort, you will get rewarded with incredible weapons and incredible skills. There's no substitute for that. As you see in these examples, I showed all of these. The bone gun lance is clearly a terrible idea for new players and it builds bad habits. Players will call it toxic or elitism that players want to exclude lower HR players that don't put in the effort to learn and use poison. Poison will do 29 times 80 to 26,820 with just one proc. That's over 5,000 damage if you pull it off twice. I will take any poison user, I don't care what your HR is, if it's 50 and you could proc it once, you will do more work than any player with the same bone gun lance user at your level, like at 6 or 7 or whatever. You will do way more work than they will. You will also lower and weaken the wind armor, giving the rest of your teammates a chance to attack Kushala Daora safely without worrying about that wind armor. Hopefully my experience helps you with your Kushala Daora raids. No, seriously, I'm just trying to help. I've done so many raid trains, like, thank you Pokemon Go for all the experiences, all the friendships I've made. I've led over hundreds of raids, if not thousands, in multiple different states, and I've participated in multiple countries, and it's been the greatest experience of my life. Not quite the same with Kushala Daora, because in Kushala, in Elder Dragon Interceptions, of course, it's only 4 players instead of 20. But regardless of that, and with global matchmaking, it's been an absolute blast. It's been a lot of fun hunting Kushala Daora, and I'm really excited to almost be done maxing my 10-5 Kushala Daora bow. No, seriously, I'm pretty happy to stop killing this thing and going after it. I'll go after a gold Elder Dragon eventually, but it's going to be one of my favorites, not Kushala, because a lot of you could probably agree Kushala is kind of meh. And it happens. It's literally the first one in a lot of base series games, and here it is for this one. So, in addition, if I've seen you in a lobby, it was an honor, and win or lose, it was an honor. If one of my subscribers or one of my viewers, you're like, hey, oh my gosh, I just hunted with the King of Charmanders, it's super cool of me, and like, I don't care what you use or anything like that. It was an honor. Like, I will do my best. Like, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. This summer has just been absolutely nuts, and all that success can't be done without you. So I appreciate my community. I love y'all to death, and I wish you nothing but the best. Please do me a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your Kushala Daora grades. May you get all the rarity 5s and 6s that you need, and max out your bow or whatever Kushala weapon you're going after soon. And I will see y'all on the next video.